What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today I am talking about the 5 things that I like about the PlayStation 5. So it's now June as of the recording of this video, so I've had the PlayStation 5 for about 6 months now. So I really just kind of want to discuss the things that I really do enjoy about the console, like kind of the features, the little things that I think the PlayStation 5 does that obviously the PlayStation 4 couldn't do. Now for this video, I'm only talking about the kind of things that I like about the console itself. I'm not going to be mentioning games or stuff like that. That could be a separate video in itself. But really, I'm just focusing on the PlayStation 5 because I know that a lot of people now are starting to kind of get their hands on this console, kind of like me. Alright, so enough monologuing, let's kind of get to the points. The first thing I really love, I think this is my favorite thing about the console, is the controller. When I got my hands on this, I went to a local arcade. There's a local arcade in my area. The guy there, he has like kind of a rack of consoles that you can play, and he had a PlayStation 5 there. And that's where I got my hands on this controller, and I was blown away. The comfort, it's great. It feels awesome on the hands. It's a great comfortable size. There is some texture here on the back of this controller that kind of allows you to kind of grip the controller well when you're playing. It's awesome. I love the feeling of the joysticks, the triggers, everything is really good. The controller is awesome. Now on top of that, the technology behind this controller is amazing. All PlayStation 5s come with this game called Astrobot pre-installed. If you get your hands on a PlayStation 5, I highly recommend playing that game. It's been one of the more favorite games of this current generation, honestly. The way it utilizes the tech behind this controller, it does it in a great way, in an intuitive way, in a fun way. And the gameplay is just fun. It's a 3D platformer / collect-a-thon game. And if you're a big fan of PlayStation and legacy PlayStation stuff, there's a lot of cool throwbacks there. You could collect the PlayStation 1, you could collect the PlayStation 2 Slim, PSPs, PS Vita, all that stuff. It's a really fun game, and it really utilizes the tech behind this controller. Now, if you're somebody that wants to play games that take full advantage of the haptic feedbacks and the pressure sensitive triggers, Astrobot's a great one. Also, Death Stranding, the PlayStation 5 edition, does a really great job of utilizing the tech of this controller. If you've never played the game before, it's a delivery game, but when you're balancing a lot of packages, you feel the pressures on the triggers, and you're kind of forced to balance your way through it. It does it in a very clever way. Plus, the haptic feedback when it rains, when you're walking through grass, all that stuff. The game does a really good job of using the tech, which is great. Here's a box of Death Stranding if you guys aren't familiar with how it looks. It's a really good game. It's also on the PlayStation 4. It originally came out on the PlayStation 4, but it really does handle the tech of the controller really good. Another good one is Returnal. This is a great game. It's like a 3D shoot 'em up. 3D shoot 'em up / roguelite. I'm not a big fan of roguelites, but the 3D shoot 'em up aspect is a lot of fun. But really what this game does is that it does a great job at, again, using the tech of the controller. Haptic feedbacks, the pressure sensitive triggers, all that stuff, the interactivity of the controller. It does a really good job. It takes good advantage of that controller. So if you're somebody that maybe you're trying to get a PlayStation 5, maybe you just got one and you want to see what the controller is all about, I really do recommend trying these 2 games out. It'll take full advantage of it. Alright, the second thing I absolutely love about the PlayStation 5 is that it's backwards compatible. That is a huge feature for me, a huge feature in my opinion. The fact that the PlayStation 4 was not backwards compatible was a huge miss in my opinion. But really this just kind of allows the PlayStation 4 library to kind of live on in modern ways. Because guys, let's face it, the PlayStation 4 library is enormous. It's huge. I had the PlayStation 4 basically from the start. I love that console, and I've played a lot of games on that console through its lifespan. But there are still games right now that I'm looking at that are still only on the PlayStation 4 that I still haven't played yet. I'll give you guys a good example. Right now, I'm currently playing through Dragon Quest XI. This is a phenomenal RPG if you're into RPGs. Phenomenal RPG, great turn-based game with an amazing story. It doesn't have a PlayStation 5 version. It's only on the PS4. So the ability for me to say, I want to play this game now, and I don't want to connect my PS4, I want to play it on the 5, it's a really cool ability of just kind of simply doing that. No hoops to jump through. You just kind of put the game into the console, and then you're up and you're running. And there's a lot of, if you're a big fan of RPG games, There's a lot of RPGs on the PS4 that are really good that only got released on the PS4. They're most likely not going to get PS5 versions of them. So games like Dragon Quest, I know the Trail series is another popular franchise of RPGs that I want to get into that only have PS4 versions, and obviously Switch. But if you don't have a Switch, they're only on the PS4. So if you have a PS5 and you want to go back and play some of those games that maybe you missed out on, the ability of doing that, I think it's a huge plus. And I really do give Sony a lot of credit for thinking of that. So backwards compatibility for the win. All right, the third thing. This is kind of a more niche thing in my. I don't know how many people actually like this, but I love the way the PlayStation app connects with the PlayStation 5 console. Now, I had an Xbox One X, not the Series S or the X, but I'm talking about the One X, the old Xbox. And I remember with that Xbox, I really liked how the app of Microsoft connected with the console. It did things that the PlayStation one just did not do. And for example, one of the biggest things was captures. My favorite thing about the PlayStation, one of my favorite thing, but like it really is kind of a thing that I really do enjoy, is the ability to capture a screenshot. Just kind of the ability to kind of look at your captures and download them directly to your phone. I don't know if you guys remember this, or maybe you didn't use the app on the 4, but it was very complicated to get your stuff viewed, which is unfortunate. That's really the reason why I started this stuff in the first place. It really started with the Xbox. The Xbox had that capture ability where I could capture like gameplay footage, download it to my phone, and then I would just share them on my socials. And then I was like, you know what, let me just create a page where I just share my captures and my screenshots and my videos, and just kind of just share it. And then it was through there that I kind of started to see some growth, and hey, why not try to do this a little bit more? So it really started through that. So the ability to do that now with the PS5, I think it's great. It's awesome that Sony took note from Xbox and applied it to their platform. On top of that, you could also view the store. You could see the sales. You could see everything that's going on. You could see your wish list from stuff. You could also download games from your phone to your PS5 remotely. You could also set your PlayStation 5 to update. Do a lot of cool things as well. And then you could also view kind of like your hub, where you see your trophies and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's a lot of, I do like the way the app and the console function kind of together. So that is something that me personally I like, just because I love screenshots, I love photo modes, I love doing gameplay records, I love doing all that stuff. So to me, being able to just kind of send it directly to the app, to download directly to my phone, is a huge plus. So that's a really cool feature if you're somebody that's into that. The fourth thing I love about the PS5 is the UI. The user interface is absolutely brilliant. I think this is probably their best one ever. I would say, yeah, I would put it above the Vita. I always loved the Vita user interface. I always thought it was very clever and very awesome. PlayStation 5 just does it great. Now, obviously, we know that the PlayStation 5, obviously, SSD has a bunch of specs. It's obviously going to be faster and smoother than the PS4. It's just natural. You know what I mean? But what I like is just kind of the accessibility of things. For example, I do like how you can pin certain games to the front of your home screen so that they never get lost. If you're kind of installing other games, or if you're trying other games out, sometimes those games kind of disappear. You could pin the ones that you like to the front. I like how when you have the icons of the game, you could just swipe down. You could see your trophies. You could see what friends are playing the games what friends are playing the game that you're also playing. You could even see challenges, and you could see all their screenshots from other players that are sharing screen captures and photos and stuff like that, which is cool. A big thing that I really love, and I'm gonna try to show it in the video, is the smooth transition between the store and the home screen with the PS5. And I think it's because you got the SSD and you got all these internal specs, which I'm not a big specs guy. I do know it's a more updated console. It allows for this, but literally all you have to do is go to the store icon and press down, and you're in the store. That's it. No loading screen, no waiting. It's all just there. And I just really love that. I think it's very smooth. I think it's very accessible. You know, it's kind of that iPhoneism thing of it just works. It's kind of one of those things. I think it's really cool and clever how they did that. And honestly, a low-key big feature that I really like, they separated the entertainment apps with the games. That's right. You're no longer going to have your YouTube app right next to your game. They have a whole other category for that. It's called entertainment. You just kind of hit entertainment, and then all your apps are there. Your Hulu, your Disney, you know, your Amazon Prime Video, Netflix, whatever. And it's all there in its own separate category, and I think that is absolutely brilliant. Really smart that they did that. Dumb little improvements, really, that are a big deal to me. If you're into that kind of stuff, I am a big user interface type person. Depending on how the device runs and looks, really does affect how much I use it or not. And I'm gonna say it, man. I don't think the Xbox's UI is the best. I think it's a little cluttered. I think it's a little too much. Sony's just feels a bit sleeker, and just a little bit better in that area. And the last thing I really do enjoy about the PlayStation 5, that I think it's another little neat feature that they did, has to do with their subscription service. Now, if you aren't aware, PlayStation 5 this time around, they added 3 tiers. A basic tier, kind of a middle tier, and like a super expensive tier. And the super expensive tier is supposed to come with classic games. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, I am a big fan of retro games. I collect a lot of retro games. I like to play a lot of them. And there's still a lot that I haven't played, especially in the PlayStation section. I did not grow up with a PS1, so I missed out on a lot of the great RPGs from that era. But I've slowly been catching up. Basically, what they do with the top tier is they include these PS1 classics, and I think some PS2 stuff as well, and they have them there with the service. Now, we're talking Legend of Dragoon, we're talking Wild Arms 1, 2, and 3, we're talking Rogue Galaxy, you know, we're talking about some really good RPGs. And what I really do like about this feature, or about kind of how they're approaching this, is you have the ability to purchase these games and own them for yourself. That's right. You do not need the subscription itself to buy or own to play these games. And I pay for the standard tier. I don't, you know, I'm cheap in that area. I just like to pay for the basic tier. And the fact that I can go onto this tier, look at Legend of Dragoon, buy it for $9, and own it, I think it's a really big deal. I mean, for me, it's a really big deal, because when we look at Nintendo Switch and their online service, they have a lot of awesome retro games in that service. Great stuff if you're a Nintendo fan, but it's all locked to that subscription service. So if you don't pay for it one time, or if, you know, for whatever reason you no longer pay for it, you cannot play these games. They are locked out. And it sucks, because let's say whenever Nintendo decides to cut the service on the Switch, once they eventually move on from it, those games will probably be taken away. So just kind of, it sucks to know that those games are locked behind a service that you can't do anything with. At least with PlayStation and their classic stuff, they give you the ability to buy these games yourself and own them. So if you don't pay for the subscription 1 month, or if you change subscriptions, or you choose not to have it, you could still play these games, and they're still under your ownership. And I think that's a really cool, I would say, consumer-friendly feature. The only asterisk is, I know that the output of these retro games, that at least on PlayStation side, is a little slow. They don't tend to post for a couple months, and sometimes the games that they do release aren't always the best in terms of what the fans want. But the ability to actually buy and own them, I think it's a huge plus. So if you really want to check out games like Wild Arms, Rogue Galaxy, Legend of Dragoon, for example, awesome RPGs with great history and really a great legacy, you can go right now on your PS5 and buy them without the need of having to sign up for that subscription. So that's a super consumer-friendly thing. I'm a big fan of consumer-friendly things. Just anything that's consumer-friendly, I try to applaud and just kind of try to acknowledge, because that is necessary, especially in this day and age. Alright guys, so thank you all for watching. These were my 5 things that I like about the PlayStation 5 console. Let me know what things you love about the PlayStation 5. Do you agree or disagree with my list? Is there something there you want to add? let me know in the comments below. It'd be cool to kind of talk about this for a little bit. It's interesting. If you're interested in getting a PS5, maybe these things might be the things that kind of get you over the hump. Who knows? At least for me, owning a PS5 now for about 6 months, I have no regrets on my purchase. I really enjoy this console. I love the fact that I can play my PS4 library and play the PS5 games, which is great. And on top of that, the other features that kind of come with as well. Really awesome console. So yeah, I would recommend this console if you're somebody asking. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.